Okay, hey guys. So yeah, I'm away again today. Uh, but that doesn't mean we can't start the next unit. So you have the note, uh, the length note ready to go. So we're going to start our last unit of grade 10 math together. It's all about analytic geometry or analytical geometry. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is kind of review the equation of lines. And then when I get back, so today we're going to do the note. Tomorrow will be more practice on it, and I can go over any questions that we have. And then next week, we'll start to get into, well, Monday you're off. We're all off. But next week we'll get into more medians of triangles and like right bisectors and midpoints of circles and things like that, okay? So we're just going to start with kind of like the basics to get us started. And then, so I think most of this should be review, but we'll go through it all together. Okay. So first thing I want to go over are the forms of the equation of a line. So there's a couple different forms that we can have. Okay. So we have the slope y-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. It's the standard one that we use a lot of the time, but it's not the standard form. Standard form is ax plus by plus c equals 0. Okay. So you can go. We can convert between these two pretty easily. Naturally, all of them we can convert into. So y equals mx plus b is the easiest to graph, but for all our final answers, we're going to want to put them into standard form, okay, because it's the standard way of writing equations. Okay, so in ax, oh yeah, and obviously for y equals mx plus b, m is our slope. And b is the y-intercept. Okay, in standard form, a, b, and c are integers, and a is positive, okay? So a is always going to be positive. If it's not, you just move everything over to the other side and have 0 equals a x plus b y plus c. Okay, so just move everything over, and then the signs are going to flip on b and c, but it'll make your a positive, okay? A always has to be positive. So the point slope form, so here we have y minus y1. This will be one of the points that you know that's on the line, equals m, the slope, times x minus x1. It's just a point on the line. Okay? So we would have a point x1, y1, and that's somewhere on our line. And then the last form we're going to talk about today is our slope form, which is m slope equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Okay? So we have x1 and y1, and then x2 and y2 would be a separate point on the line. But x2 and y2 go together, and x1 and y1 go together. You don't want to mix them up. Okay, so we'll keep x1 and y1 separate from x2 and y2. Okay, so these are the four that we're going to be talking about today, and kind of like how we kind of maneuver ourselves in between and write the equation of lines based on what we have. Oh yeah, and if any point you need to pause the video to like write it down, just let the supply teacher know. I'm sure they're kind enough; they'll be able to pause for you while everyone gets caught up. Okay, so like I said, the equation of all lines for the final solution, you always want to put it into standard form unless stated otherwise, but it'll always be in standard form. Okay, so ax plus by plus c equals 0. So we have our x, our y, and whatever coefficients with them, and then the number, and equals 0. So we put everything on one side of the equation. And I like to put it on the left just because it kind of reads better. We read left to right over here. Okay, so let's do some examples. So we want to find the equation in standard form of a line that goes through -4 and -7 and 2 and 5. Okay, so we're going to find the standard form for this. Okay, so we don't know standard form. We need ax plus by plus c equals 0. So this is just point A and point B. They're not those numbers, remember? But to do this first, we're going to want to find the slope. And then we'll put it into point slope form. And then we'll find the equation of the line, okay? So step 1, we're going to use slope form. m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Okay, it doesn't really matter which one we say is x1, which one we say is x2. I'm just going to use this one as x1, y1 first, and this one as x2, y2 because it's the second one in the question. Okay, so we take our point slope form, m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. And we sub in the values. Okay, so we'll have 5 minus, that's y2 is 5, y1 is negative 7. So make sure you include the negative 7 there, just otherwise you'll get the wrong answer. Okay, 2 minus negative 4 because our x2 is 2 and our x1 is negative 4. Okay, so we'll have 5 minus 7 is 5 plus 7, so we would have 12 all over 2 minus negative 4. Again, it becomes positive, so 2 plus 4, which is 6. So our slope is equal to 2. Okay, now that we have our slope, we're going to put that into point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Okay, so where are the colors? Here we go. So this y will be this y here, the y that we're going to leave as a variable. And this x will be this x here. Okay, and then we can sub in y1 and x1 into the equation. So just make sure you get them both from the same point. And you don't take this y and this x or something like that. Okay, so y minus negative 7 equals our slope, which we just found was 2. X minus negative 4. Okay, I'm just going to simplify it a bit. Y plus 7 equals 2x plus 4. Okay. If you skip to this line right away when plugging the values, that's totally fine. But if you want to do it step by step, that's also okay. Okay, so what we do now is we're going to distribute out our 2 into the x's and then see whether the coefficient on x is positive or negative, and depending on that will it be which side we put our numbers on. Okay, so distribute the 2 in. Plus 7 equals 2x plus 8. Since the 2 is positive, we are going to bring our y over and the 7 over. Okay, so once we bring both those over, we'll have 0 on the left, 2x plus 8 minus y minus 7. Make sure you get the like terms together. 2x minus y plus 8 minus 7. Okay, they're both numbers, so we can simplify it down to 0 equals 2x minus y plus 1. Okay, or 2x minus y plus 1 equals 0. Okay, it doesn't matter which side the 0 is on, just as long as you have ax, by plus c. So our a would be 2, our b would be negative 1, and our c would be positive 1. Okay, so that's our standard form. Okay, so it's similar to our quadratic standard form, except instead of x squared and x and a number, we have x, y, and a number. Okay, but they're all different terms. Okay, on to the next. So writing the equation for horizontal lines or vertical lines are super easy. If the line is horizontal, it's just going like this. What is the slope? Okay, I'm going to ask it, and you guys can actually answer to help everyone else in the classroom, though I know I'm not there. What is the slope of a horizontal line? Very good, it's 0. Okay, so for any horizontal line, the slope is 0. So if it's 0, we'd have y equals 0 times x plus b. This just all becomes 0. So we have y equals the y-intercept, okay? Or any other point y there. So even though the line goes through 1 and 3, the y-intercept will also be 3 because every value of y will be 3 on the horizontal line. So for any horizontal line, you just take the y value, and you have y equals 3. Okay? But if we want this in standard form, we'll bring the 3 over. Because right now that's in slope y-intercept form. So we'll have y minus 3 equals 0. Okay? For vertical lines, same basic principle, except instead of y, we're going to have x. So here at x equals -4, we have our line. So we just take this number, x equals -4. Okay? And then if we want in standard form, our x is already positive. Bring it over. X plus 4 equals 0. Okay, so whenever you have standard form, you just want the 0 on the other side. For this one, really because we don't have an a value, it could have been -y plus 3, but just keep the variable positive always, okay? So here our x is positive, so we bring the 4 over. Okay. Remember, you can pause it if I'm going too fast. Here we go. Find the slope and the intercept of 3x minus 4y plus minus 12 equals 0. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to put it into slope y-intercept form, okay? So it's in standard right now. To find the slope and the intercept, we're going to want y equals mx plus b form, okay? And to get this form, all we have to do is get y all by itself, okay? I'm going to get rid of that line, though, because I don't like it there. Okay, so 3x minus 4y minus 12 equals 0. Okay, I want the y all by itself on the left. So I'm going to try to get as much over as I can. So we have -4y here. That's not green. That's probably green. Okay, so we want this by itself first because we can't get the y by itself in one step. We have to move over all the other terms, remember. Okay, remember terms from the first unit? Okay, so we're going to move -12 over, and we're going to move 3 over. Okay, and because they're being like added and subtracted to the 4y, they're going to change their sign when they reach the other side. Okay, or we're subtracting 3x and adding 12, but I think this was easier for you guys to understand. Okay, so when the 3x comes over, it's going to become -3x, and when the 12 comes over, it'll become +12. Okay, so now we have -4, y equals -3x plus 12. Now we want to get y all by itself, or y equals mx plus b. So how do we get rid of the -4 if it's being multiplied to y? That's right. I really hope someone said that we divide by -4. Okay, but if we divide this one by -4 to get rid of -4, we also divide this whole side by -4. Okay, and remember, Dividing the whole thing by -4, we can also split it up into individual terms. So same as -3x divided by -4 plus 12 all divided by -4. Okay, dividing the whole thing by -4, we can also just divide each term by -4. Okay, here, we're just going to look at the numbers. -3 divided by -4 would, the negatives would cancel out, so we'll be left with 3 over 4x. 12 divided by -4, there's only one negative, so the whole thing's going to become negative, and 12 divided by 4 would be 3. Okay, so here's our slope y-intercept form. So our slope, therefore the slope is 3/4, and the y-intercept is -3. Okay, well, this is a case where like you're given the standard form, so you don't need to find standard form. You just want to find out what the slope and the y-intercept is, and to do that, you need to isolate y. So here we isolated y, we got y all by itself, which gave us our slope and the y-intercept. Like really, we have y isolated here, but we just want to simplify these to make it clear what's the slope and what's the y-intercept. Okay? On to the next. So this time, we want to find the standard form again, like the first two questions, of a line that goes through 2 and -1 and has a slope of 1/3. Okay, so we know. Oh, sorry, this is a point that's passing through, so we have an x1 and an x2, and we have a slope. So the easiest way to go into standard form is just to plug it into, that's right, point slope form. If y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Okay, so y minus -1. Oh, wait, sorry. I did that wrong over there. It's x1 and y1. I'm sure you're all yelling at the screen telling me that I'm an idiot. It's only partially right. It's just been a long day. I've had 3 classes, and I'm going to teach 2 more. All right. So, sorry, that was x1 and y1. Remember, this is the y in the second one, right? We all make mistakes. And then our slope is 1/3. Okay, so y minus -1 equals 1/3 x minus 2. Okay, let's simplify this a little bit. So I'll distribute this and just change our sign here, because minus a negative becomes addition. 1/3 x minus 1/3 times -2 is -2/3. Okay. Now, remember in standard form, A, B, and C are integers, right? So we don't want any fractions in standard form for this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is multiply everything by the greatest common denominator, which is the only denominator, which is 3. Okay, so multiply by 3, multiply by 3, multiply by 3, and multiply by 3. Okay, so we're going to have 3y plus 3 equals 3 times 1/3 cancels itself out, so we're just left with 1 or 1x, which is just x. And then the 3's are going to cancel out here, so we'll be left again with -2. Really, we could have did the common denominator the step above, could have did a step later, your choice. Okay, now X is an integer. It has 1 as its coefficient. It's positive. So I'm going to bring everything else over. So 0 on the left. X minus 3y. Then we have minus 2. When the 3 comes over, it also becomes negative. Okay. And then just simplify. We have 0 equals x minus 3y minus 5. Okay. So you just got to know the different forms that it'll be in, okay? So we can have slope y-intercept, which everyone's been doing for a while. It should be pretty common. Standard form, like our standard form of quadratics, except instead of x squared and x, we have x and y, and then the c is still just a number. Point slope form, which is pretty much slope form except rearranged a little bit. Okay, and slope form is easy as well. All right. So I think we'll have some questions like that in the worksheet. But first, let's talk a little bit about parallel and perpendicular lines. So everyone remember what parallel and perpendicular lines are. So parallel lines have the same slope, but different y-intercepts. Okay. Perpendicular lines. The slopes are the negative reciprocals of one another. Okay. So it's just an opposite sign and it's flipped. So if the slope of one is 3 and the slope of another line is negative 1 over 3, that's the negative reciprocal. So negative reciprocal would be negative 1 over 3. Okay, if we had 4, the negative reciprocal would be negative 1 over 4. If the slope was 1 over 5, the negative reciprocal would be negative 5. You just flip it, and it becomes negative. So when you flip 1 over 5, it's 5 over 1, which is just 5. If we had 3 over 2, it would be 2 over 3 negative. Okay, just flip the number and make it negative. Or if it's negative, make it positive. So say if we had negative 5 over 3, when you flip it, it would become 3 over 5, and it would become positive because it's already negative. Okay, that just makes the lines perpendicular, so they're crossed at a 90-degree angle. Okay. So in this example, we want to find the equation of a line parallel to 2x plus y minus 5 equals 0, and it passes through the point negative 1 and 3. Okay, so it's parallel. That means same slope. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is probably find the slope. So to do that, we got to put this into y equals mx plus b form. Okay, so 2x plus y minus 5 equals 0. I want to get y by itself. Let's move everything over here. So if y equals, when the 2x comes over, it becomes negative 2x. When the negative 5 comes over, it'll become positive. And look at that. It's already in slope y-intercept form. Okay. So what's our slope? I feel like Dora the Explorer waiting for a response when no one's actually watching this yet. So our slope is negative 2. Okay. Now, what we want to do, we want to put this into, since we have a point, we have an x1 and a y1. Remember, the second number is y. We can just plug that right into y equal slope point or point slope form. X minus x1. Okay. So y minus y1 equals slope times the x minus x1. x minus 3 equals, our slope is negative 2, x minus negative 1. Okay, so y minus 3 equals negative 2, x plus 1. Distribute that out, x minus 2. Okay, now we can bring everything over. Oh, wait, no, sorry, we don't want to go that way. Since our a value on x is negative, we can bring it over and then it'll become positive on this side now. So we'll have positive 2x plus y minus 3. And then when the 2 comes over, it becomes plus 2, and we're left with 0 on that side. Simplify your two numbers there. You get 2x plus y minus 1 equals 0. Okay, so this will have the same slope as this equation up here. Same slope, it'll just have a different y-intercept.
Lena, please contact extension 2102.
Still getting interrupted by announcements even when recording these. Okay. Find the equation of a line perpendicular to 5x plus y minus 7 equals 0 and pass through point 5, 2. You know, we're going to have x1 and not x1, x2, x1, y1. I don't know why he wanted to put x2. y1. There we go. Okay, so we got x1 and y1. Easiest thing to do, since we only have 1 point, would be to put it into slope y-intercept form to find out the equation of the new line. But we don't know what our slope is yet. So we use this line to find out what the slope is, but because it's perpendicular, it'll be negative reciprocal. Okay? So let's get this into y equals mx plus b. 5x plus y. Whoa, why can I not write the letter y? Y minus 7 equals 0. Move over the 7, move over the 5x. And what do you know? Y is already isolated. Negative 5x plus 7. So the slope of this line is 5, but our perpendicular slope, this little symbol down here, is perpendicular because it's two perpendicular lines. So if this slope is negative 5, or negative reciprocal, we flip it and multiply it by negative. So negative 5 times negative would be positive now. So we have positive 1 over 5. Okay. So now we can put in all our numbers. Y minus our y1 is 2 equals 1/5 times x minus 5. Okay. And now here we're going to have to get rid of the fraction eventually anyways. I'm just going to get rid of it here. Multiply everything on this side by 5. Multiply this side by 5, which will actually cancel this out right away. Actually, no, I don't want to do that yet. I don't want to confuse that. If you want to do it there, you can, but we are going to wait a step to do it so we get that return. I want you guys to double multiply 5s. Y minus 2 equals 1 over 5x. 1 over 5 times negative 1 over 5 would just be negative 1. Because 5 divided by 5 is 1. Now, we'll multiply every term by 5. 5. 5. 5, those 5s will get cancel out, and times 5. So we get our 5 back. Okay, so we'll have 5y minus 10 equals x minus 5. So see, if you multiplied it up here, the 1/5 just gets canceled out right away. And we're left with whatever we had inside there. Don't stress too much about that. Just expand it out first and then multiply every individual term by the greatest common factor, because sometimes it might not be the same. And I also don't want you guys to double multiply anything. So just expand it out and then get rid of the fraction. Now our x is positive over here, so we'll bring everything over to the right. 0. It's going to be left over here. X. So there, minus 5y because it was positive over here. Minus 5 that we had, plus 10 because it becomes positive. It comes over. Not sure why I said it like that. Plus 5. Okay, didn't want to do that. Can I please just write what's wrong with that? Yeah, there you go. Okay, and there we go. There you have it. Okay, so that is it for today's lesson. Again, if you need to pause it at all or go back for anything, you can. So basically, all I want you to do today for those worksheets is just kind of flip between the different forms, okay? Go from put everything in the standard form, or if you have standard form, try and find the slope or the y-intercept. And then remember that parallel lines have the same slope, perpendicular lines are the negative reciprocal. Okay, so you flip it and change the sign. But that'll be it for today. Rest of the period, you can work on the worksheet, and then when I come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the forms of equations of lines and do probably some more practice problems on them, okay? This unit's going to be short, though. We only have 4 lessons before we get to the assignment and the unit test, but I'll talk more about that when I get back tomorrow. Okay, hope you all have a great day, and just send me an email if you have any questions. Okay.